However, this can actually two-hit kill to the head, which is really cool. Got him. Doesn't this still look like a test play snap? I'm not gonna lie, like... Knew it. Juan Deagle, go. Ooh. So hello gamers and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be counting down the top 10 secondaries and phantom forces. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. It shows up a little plus in my analytics and it's very cool. Last time I talked about that, I got 100 subs in a single video, which is really cool. But make sure to comment your favorite secondary down below. But let's just get into it. Number 10 is of course the Obrez. The reason I'm putting the Obrez at number 10 is because you can't really compare it super well to the other secondaries, but I wanted to put it on the list because it's a very good gun. This is kind of like a secondary Steyr Scout. It does a little bit more damage than the Scout, but like it fires about the same speed. It has a 5-round magazine, which is kind of annoying, longer reload time, a lot worse drop, but it's secondary. It's basically a headshot kill at any range, as you can see. And yeah, the drop is kind of abysmal. With long barrel, it's still 1,800 velocity, which is pretty trash, but it can headshot kill at any range. So if you're pretty good at controlling for drop, this becomes an extremely powerful secondary, essentially a GB22, but with better velocity and 5 bullets. It's really good, and the body damage isn't too bad either. It's going to be a 2-hit kill to the limb, do 100 studs, and a 3-hit kill or 2-shot kill torso after that. So in terms of body damage, this gun is not really going to be that great. It does have 8 mil for a torso kill, but that has awful drop and cannot headshot kill at range, so it's kind of trash. The good thing here is just the long barrel and the default ammo, and if you can hit your headshots, this gun is just amazing. You could say it's the number 1 secondary, you could say it's the worst secondary, because for close range, this is not very good, since it cannot one-shot to the torso, and it's a bolt action. It's a very good secondary for what it does. So I'm giving it number 10, but number 9 is a very special pistol known as the M2011. M2011 body damage is really nothing to be too happy about or too excited about. It does 32 to 19. That's all right damage. A 4 to a 6 hit. It's kind of F for the fact that it's a semi-auto, but it has a 2.2 times headshot multi, which means it's going to do like 80 damage to the head. So it can kill with 1 head and 1 limb shot, and it also has a 1.6 second reload. Look at that reload. This is a faster reload than the likes of something like the Colt SMG, even guns with 20 tact. Like this has reload times of like 25, 45, and 20 tact guns. It's got 20 rounds. The recoil is super good, and it also comes with a scope, which is kind of cool. I'll just show off the scope because we're on a longer range map. It's basically like a weird version of the Malcolm, and the recoil on this gun is kind of strange. It's a very high rotational recoil, but the actual recoil is pretty much non-existent. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that's not really a lot of recoil. I'm not going to lie. And if you're hitting headshots, this gun is amazing. It reloads really fast, and if you cannot deal with the fact that it's a 4-hit kill to the limb, you can actually run solo points on this gun and get a 3-shot in close range and still have pretty good headshot damage, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's not necessarily the best gun in the entire game unless you're hitting heads, but this is a extremely underrated secondary, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. So at number 8, we have another very close range gun. It's basically the only shotgun secondary on this list, and it's the Saiga 12U. Now the Saiga 12U is just the best secondary shotgun in my opinion, and I just feel like objectively it's kind of the best because it has 350 RPM, can have up to 6 rounds, and does better damage than you could probably expect because it does more damage than the Super Shorty. Yes, it does more damage than a gun that has like 120 RPM, and this has 350. If you can't aim, you want a spammy shotgun, pre-buy this gun if you want to, but if you have it, pre-buy Extended Mag. Extended Mag is really what makes it super great. Like by default, it has 2 rounds and 3 with a +1, which is fine. It reloads a lot faster with that. However, if you want a gun that can really take some people on, you gotta use Extended Mag because then it has 5 rounds instead of 2, which is kind of crazy. More than double the magazine capacity. Oh, if I hit that though. But yeah, for secondary shotguns, this is like the only one worth using in my opinion. I don't really like secondary shotguns. They don't really feel like super effective anymore. Like the only one that was super great was the 1858 Snake Shot. And if you want a secondary shotgun, this is the one, you know, like it's just so good, dude. It can even kind of rival primary shotguns just because it shoots super fast. It has pretty trash drop, like at range, it's just gonna fall off, but like it's pretty good for pretty close range, I'm not gonna lie. Our next spot is the Glock 23. Now the Glock 23 is a gun that a lot of people overlook because first off, it's very accurate, fires very fast, and it's essentially a Glock 17 with better damage, a smaller magazine, and a little bit more recoil, but the recoil is still really low. But it has a faster reload time, and it just does more consistent, better damage. Of the Glocks, this is arguably the best one in the game. I have one that I kind of like a little bit more, but if you're looking for essentially an extremely generic but very powerful pistol, this is really good. 2-shot kill head, 22 damage at range with the torso multi, and a 1.5 headshot multi, I think. So it's still going to do great damage regardless of the range, and it's got super low recoil, so it works at range as well. Like I said, if you don't like the generic pistols like the Glock 17, I don't really recommend this. It's just, you gotta fire it pretty quick. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I understand where it's good. But at number 6, we have the Grizzly. Now, the Grizzly you could put higher on the list, but I'm not going to, simply because there are better versions of it in the XIX and the Executioner. But the Grizzly is a very nice gun. If you like the old XIX fire rate, this doesn't shoot as fast as the XIX used to. It has 350 RPM, and it can't torso kill as far, and it's simply a worse version of the old XIX. However, it's still kind of like the old XIX, so if you want to be able to fire pretty quickly with a hand cannon, it's not really too bad. The fact is that it just doesn't one-shot to the torso as far, which is kind of inconvenient, you know. If you just want more one-taps, I don't recommend this gun. It doesn't do as great damage as the other hand cannon type guns, but it's pretty good. I'm giving it number 6 because it's still really good. I'm just not going to say it's the best hand cannon or anything like that, because in my opinion, it's the worst of the hand cannons. Now, number 5, we have a very underrated pistol known as the 5.7. Now, the 5.7 does 29 damage, so you're like, okay, that kind of sucks, right? Here's the thing. It has a 1.2 times torso multi, which means it can actually do 34 damage to the torso, which means even though it's going to be a 4-hit kill to the limbs, it's going to be a 3-hit kill to the torso. It also has assault rifle velocity. I'm not kidding. It has the same velocity as the AUG 1, the AUG 2, the K2, the FAMAS F1, more than the AK-47. Like, this actually has some pretty crazy velocity, as well as more penetration than the AKM, which is kind of interesting. So stats-wise, this is an amazing pistol, amazing pen, amazing velocity, 20-round magazine, extremely low recoil, and it's a 5-hit kill, but it still has that torso multi, so it can actually 4-hit kill to the torso at any range. So this gun is an amazing, very good secondary if you just want an overall great gun. For regardless of range, regardless of enemies being behind cover, this gun is just good. So if you want something like that, that's the gun for you, because it's just super good. Is this necessarily the best pistol in the game? I'm gonna say no. However, objectively speaking, it is kinda the best. You know, it's got a huge magazine, fast rate of fire, good pen and everything, but the thing is, you can only 3-hit if it's all torsos, which is kind of inconvenient. So that's why it's not super popular, is because people don't want to have to go for 3 torsos, as well as the fact that the recoil is weird. It's super low, but it's just kind of weird at the same time, which will make some people not like it as much. I kind of wish they'd fix the recoil. You could just use an AMT Terminator and it would still be super low recoil, but I just don't prefer that. It's a decently low rank if you have the gun and you haven't tried it out yet. I recommend you do. You might come to like it. If you don't like it, I get why. However, I have almost 400 kills on the gun. You can actually kind of just main this gun because of the fact that it has such good advanced stats that just are kind of more like a primary weapon. If you think about it, 4-hit kill to the body, 3-hit kill to the torso is like better than the M16A3. It also has the same fire rate as the M16A3, so if you're really good at clicking fast, I recommend it. Don't use a macro, you'll get most likely kicked from the game since macros are kickable. Now, tied for the same spot is actually going to be the Glock 40. The reason for this is because these are kind of side grades of each other. The Glock 40 is also going to be a 4-shot, but a 3-shot torso. However, it requires 1 torso shot instead of all 3 being a torso shot, so better damage. However, it has a smaller magazine, a bit more recoil, and not as great velocity and pen. However, this can actually 2-hit kill to the head, which is really cool. Got him, because it has an amazing headshot multiplier. So if you want better damage but a smaller magazine and worse advanced stats, then you should definitely be going for the Glock 40. I like them both a ton, and I think they're both probably the best just semi-automatic pistols in the game, in my opinion. And yeah, I really can't tell you which one is better. I feel like the Glock 40 is a little bit better. The 5.7 has the nice advantages. But at number 4, we have a gun that can be extremely powerful in the right hands and close range, and that is the GI-M1. Now, the GI-M1 is arguably worse in some aspects to something like the Glock 40. However, if you want a gun that can still fire pretty fast but does almost hand cannon or revolver style damage, the GI-M1 is for you. It can actually 1-shot to the head in close range, 2-shot kill to the anywhere on the body, pretty far, and 3-shot kill anywhere at any range. The recoil sucks, the velocity sucks, there's a ton of downsides to using this gun, but I'm gonna be real, if you want a 1911 but you just want to have the amazing damage of something like a 50 cal, this is for you, man. It does 60 limb damage, and it can 1-shot headshot, 2-shot anywhere in the body in close range. It's super good, dude. Like, that last kill there wouldn't have happened with any other gun because they can't 1-shot to the head, and this can in close range. It isn't going to be the best gun of all time, but honestly, at the same time, if you're hitting your 1-shots and stuff, Like, this gun is insane, dude, because it just fires so quick. It also reloads fast. The recoil is a bit annoying, but like, this gun is kind of underrated. I'm not gonna lie. If you guys didn't know, the 1911 used to have a 50 GI conversion to make it the GI M1, and then they were like, you know what, we'll make it its own gun, which is a little bit weird. And the GI M1 is a little bit worse in a lot of aspects to the earlier version of the gun. The recoil is a little bit worse, but it's basically the same gun, and you can also put ammo attachments on it, which is pretty cool. My setup is basically just delta sight, muzzle brake, green laser, which is basically my setup on every pistol, but it can't 3-shot kill anywhere, any range, but if you hit one torso shot, it's going to increase from 33 to about 40 damage, which is pretty good. Basically hit one torso shot and 2 shots anywhere else, and it will be a 3-hit kill at any range, as well as the fact that I think it can 2-shot headshot at long range. Let me check. Yes, it can. It does 56 headshot damage at any range, but kind of bad velocity. But now we're on to the number 3 spot, which is the MP412 Rex. Now, the MP412 Rex is kind of similar to the GI M1. It doesn't have as many rounds and it reloads slower. However, it's more accurate, it fires faster, and it can headshot kill to like 120 studs instead of like 25. In my opinion, this is probably the best revolver, at least overall in the entire game. It has 600 RPM, very little recoil. It has the cowboy barrel for the nice velocity and stuff, and it can headshot kill very far. This gun does fall off a little bit harder damage-wise than the GI M1 at range. However, it has a massive headshot multi of like 3 times, so it can actually do like, you know, 80 damage to the head at any range, which is kind of crazy. And it can also one-shot headshot to a very substantial range, and it shoots really fast while still maintaining accuracy. So honestly, this is better than the GI M1, but not by a lot. Like, the GI M1 has some advantages. However, the spam ability of this gun is straight up just better, you know? This has a little bit worse limb damage, a smaller magazine, a slower reload time, and worse damage at range. However, it has better muzzle velocity, better damage performance headshot wise, especially. It also has a ton more margin for error, and by that I mean it just doesn't have as much recoil, so you can spam it more if you want to. But if you want to go for the one taps, it's also really good for that as well. So this is honestly at this point my favorite secondary to use. I just use it all the time. I got like 450 kills on it now because it just feels so good to use. It sounds cool, the reload is cool, and it's also just a great gun. Like, I really like it. I recommend you check it out if you have not, and if you want to be a little bit more accurate or just spam with it, it works pretty well for both of those, which makes it a very versatile gun. In fact, you can even spam it at like 100 studs and probably still get a kill. The damage at range is a little bit inconvenient, yes, but the headshot damage at range is still really good. Like, it's like 80 damage head at any range, so just go for the head. Really good gun. Honestly, if you're gonna use any gun on this list, check out this one. Like, if you haven't used it, it's so good. Also like rank 4, but yeah, at number 2, we have a revolver known as the Executioner. Now, the Executioner single load shells. It fires super slow and has the slowest walk speed of any secondary in the game. However, this gun can one tap to the body, only to the torso, not to the limb. So if you hit the biggest hitbox in the center of the guy's body, one shot about 55 studs, which is really good. Like a one shot to the... Okay, I didn't one shot there, but as you can see, it shoots extremely slow. It doesn't really do the best damage at range. It's okay. It's going to be a 3-tap anywhere at any range, which sounds pretty good, but like, it has 125 RPM. That's not really that great. I think it can deal with one head and one limb, but it can't 2-shot to the torso, which a gun in number 1 spot can actually 2-shot to the torso at any range, which is pretty cracked. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, great headshot kill range as well. It's not the best. It's like at least 100 studs though. Anything I can say about this gun, it doesn't really matter because it can one-shot to the body in close range, which just makes it really good. Not really my favorite gun in the game. I really just like the Rex more. I'm not gonna lie. I really just am not a huge fan of this gun, but objectively speaking, this is just one of the best secondaries in the entire game by a long shot. If a gun can one-shot to the body and it doesn't have one bullet, it's kind of just gonna be good. Like, even if it only has one bullet, okay. Now, the GB50 is not going on this list, sadly. I feel like it would be like number 11. Shout out to the GB50. I'm so sad that I didn't put you in the number 10 spot or anything, but like, the Obres is better. The GB50, it's got one bullet, but like, it one-shots the torso. So if you're just good, just hit the one shot, you know? But this has 6, so even if you're not that great, just go for a second shot. You can one-shot to the body. So, but at number 1, we have the Desert Eagle Mark XIX. This has a slightly worse torso kill range than the Executioner, but fires faster, reloads faster, has a bigger magazine, and has more controllable recoil. In fact, you can fire this at basically its maximum RPM and still be perfectly accurate. But it also has a better torso multiplier, so even though it doesn't necessarily do more... Okay, limb damage, it actually can 2-shot kill to the torso at any range, which is kinda insane, I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't have the best velocity, it actually has a little bit less than the Executioner, but yeah, it can one-tap in close range. I have like 2,500 kills on this gun, just an obscene number, because it's just straight up the best secondary in the entire game, you know? It's been nerfed before, but it's still really good. It also has an extended barrel that will give you worse handling and walk speed and everything, but a better torso kill range than the Executioner. Also, can we talk about the fact that this is a main game map now? Like, doesn't this still look like a test place map? I'm not gonna lie, like, knew it. I try to use this secondary less than I used to, and I definitely don't use it as much. My main secondary now is basically the Rex, but I still have 2,500 kills on it, and that's because it is super busted. Where are you going, dude? It still has 200 RPM. I feel like it should just not torso kill as far and maybe shoot a little bit slower again. Maybe a lot slower, maybe only have like 80 RPM, because if it had like sniper RPM, that wouldn't be too bad, because it's just basically a sniper rifle at this point. But yeah, anyways, gamers, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, comment your favorite secondary down below, but I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Juan Deagle, go. Ooh.